Okay, let's dive in. Today we're exploring some fascinating ideas from Dr. Joe Dispenza's book, Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself.
And it's really a deep dive into this pretty powerful connection, isn't it, between our inner world, thoughts, feelings, and what actually shows up in our lives?
Yeah, the basic message you hear again and again is, well, kind of startling. What you think and feel today actively shapes your tomorrow. It's this blend of, science and very personal work.
Right. And our goal here is really to unpack the key takeaways from these excerpts to help you understand the power you might genuinely have to change your life by, changing that inner landscape first.
Understanding how it works, not just that it does.
Exactly. A bit of the mechanism behind it.
So Dispenza starts by setting up this contrast, this shift from the old way of seeing things, the Newtonian model.
Yeah, the sort of clockwork universe idea. Very predictable, very cause and effect. And humans were almost like passive observers or even victims of circumstance within it.
But then comes the quantum model.
And that changes everything. Suddenly, it's not just about solid stuff. The fabric of reality is energy. And this energy isn't just sitting there, it responds. It responds to mind, to consciousness.
And everything's connected within that field of energy.
Precisely. Which leads to this idea he emphasizes. You're not just a physical body navigating reality, you are mindful matter. Your consciousness is deeply entangled with energy, potentially influencing it.
Influencing reality itself. It even hints at these, well, almost sci-fi possibilities.
Right. Like maybe our thoughts and feelings aren't just shaping the future, but because time might be less rigid in the quantum field, they could somehow resonate across past, present, and future all at once. It's a big concept.
Okay, so if the mind has this potential power, why is changing ourselves, our lives, so often? Well, so hard.
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? Dispenza points out that our current reality is often just the physical printout of our past thinking and feeling.
Our brain becomes a record of the past.
Exactly. Over time, the pathways get wired based on experiences, reactions, emotions. And the mind, following those well-worn paths, just tends to recreate the familiar. The same thoughts lead to the same choices, same behaviors, same feelings.
And we reinforce this by identifying with what he calls the big three.
Yes.
Yeah.
Our external environment, our job, house, relationships, all this stuff, our physical body, how it looks, feels, its conditions, and linear time, that predictable progression from yesterday to today to tomorrow.
We get locked into defining ourselves by these external markers.
And here's where it gets really tricky. The body itself gets involved chemically. If you've felt, say, guilt or anger or anxiety repeatedly because of past events,
Your body kind of memorizes that feeling.
it does. It gets conditioned to produce those chemicals almost automatically. It develops its own mind, a subconscious one, running on these memorized emotional programs.
So even if you decide, right, today I'm thinking positively,
Your body might still be demanding its usual fix of stress hormones or familiar negative feelings. The body's conditioning can literally override your conscious intention. It becomes the master, pulling you back into the emotions of the past.
which keeps you anchored in the past, recreating similar experiences. Wow.
Yeah. So conscious thought alone isn't enough. Mind and body have to be working together, aligned towards a new future.
Which means you have to learn to think and feel. What did you say? Greater than your current situation.
Greater than your environment, greater than the feelings your body has memorized, and greater than the predictable timeline you expect. He talks about historical figures who held a vision, a feeling of a future reality, even when their present circumstances were completely different.
Their mind was already living in that future.
In a sense, yes. This brings us to the contrast between two states, survival and creation.
Survival mode sounds familiar. Stressful.
It is. It's driven by stress chemicals, fight or flight. Our attention narrows, constantly scanning the external world, those big three again, for dangers, problems, things to control.
And in that state, we're somebody, defined by our roles, our possessions, our problems.
Exactly. We can even get addicted to the drama, the negative emotions, because they reinforce that limited sense of self, that somebody.
Like the story of Bill, the man with cancer.
Right. He realized he'd been living in resentment for years, decades even. It wasn't just a thought pattern. It was a state of being his body was addicted to. By becoming aware of it, consciously deciding not to be that resentful somebody anymore.
He changed his internal state.
Profoundly, he inhibited the old self. And the source suggests that as he became this new personality, free from that chronic resentment, his body responded. The energy that was tied up in the old state was freed for healing.
So creation is the opposite state, becoming a nobody.
It sounds strange, but yeah, it means moving beyond your identity, being fused to your body, your things, your past, or even time itself.
Yeah.
You step into pure consciousness, pure potential. You shed the limitations of being that specific somebody.
And that's how you access the quantum field, the realm of possibilities.
That's the idea. By becoming no body, no thing, no time, you disconnect from the known reality and connect to the field where all potentials exist.
So principle is, to change something external body, circumstances, future, you first have to shift into that internal state of pure potential.
That's the quantum way, according to Dispenza. You have to become it internally first.
And the first step is awareness, paying attention.
Absolutely. Where you place your attention is where you place your energy. So, to create something new, you have to first withdraw your attention from the old reality by observing your automatic thoughts, feelings, and behaviors. See the unconscious programs that are currently creating your life.
Which leads nicely into this idea of the gap.
Ah, yes, the gap. It's the space between how we appear on the outside, the persona, the achievements, the mask we wear.
And how we really feel inside, often based on these hidden, memorized emotions like fear or unworthiness.
Exactly. That internal state of being versus the external presentation. And we often use the external world, chasing success, possessions, relationships, experiences, to try and numb or distract ourselves from those uncomfortable inner feelings, trying to bridge the gap from the outside in.
But that's the old model, right? Newtonian thinking.
Right, trying to use external things to change your internal state. And the source says it often doesn't work long term. The body might even need bigger and bigger external stimuli leading towards addictions, just to feel something different from the familiar background noise of those hidden emotions.
Is that sometimes what triggers those midlife crisis moments? When the external stuff just stops working?
It can be, yeah. A moment where the facade cracks, and you're forced to look for something deeper, a sense of self not based purely on the external.
And this highlights that quantum law again. You need to feel abundant or happy or whole first, internally.
Yes. You generate the feeling before the evidence shows up. Waiting for the external event to make you feel good keeps you stuck in that cause and effect loop.
So how do we practically make that internal shift? The source talks a lot about the brain and meditation.
It does. It touches on different parts of the brain, thinking, doing, being, and how focused attention is key. And brainwaves, too.
Like beta, alpha, theta.
Right. High beta is that stressed out survival mode fast, incoherent brain activity, hyper-focused outward, replaying the past. Very scattered.
And meditation helps you shift out of that.
That's the goal. It helps slow the brainwaves down, moving from that chaotic high beta towards more coherent states like alpha and theta. When that happens, your attention naturally turns inward. You become less aware of your body, the environment, time.
You start to enter that no body, no thing, no time state we talked about.
Exactly. You disconnect from the knowns and open up to the unknown, the field of potential. And there's science mentioned, showing meditation can physically change the brain, improving focus, memory.
Boosting the prefrontal cortex, which helps you plan and execute that future self.
Precisely. It helps you remember your future. And in these quieter brain states, you're more likely to access those elevated feelings, connection, wholeness, joy, inspiration, not because something external happened, but from within.
So the meditative process itself is about unlearning and relearning.
That's a great way to put it. Unlearning the old self, the automatic programs, unmemorizing those familiar, often negative emotions the body craves, losing the mind that's stuck in the past.
And consciously relearning a new self, reconditioning the body to a new mind, new emotions, creating a new future-focused mind, making the unconscious conscious.
Yes. And the source outlines some steps, simplified, of course, like induction, just guiding your attention inward, becoming present, maybe focusing on the space around you or within you.
Opening the door. Then observing.
Becoming aware, without judgment, of those unwanted feelings when they arise. Noticing the fonts connected to them, the sensations in your body. Recognizing, that's just the old program running. That's the feeling of the past.
And then admitting and declaring.
Being honest about what you're feeling. And clearly stating, maybe just internally or to a sense of higher intelligence, what you want to change. Setting a clear intention. Authenticity is key here.
And the crucial part seems to be mental rehearsal.
Absolutely crucial. This is where you consciously think about your desired future. Who do you want to be? What does that feel like? You rehearse it in your mind over and over, feeling the emotions of that future now.
And this isn't just daydreaming.
No, the source insists it's biological. By rehearsing with focus and elevated emotion, you're literally installing new neural pathways. You're teaching your body chemically what that future feels like before it happens. You're mapping to the future. Repetition is vital.
So the real goal is becoming a new personality, because personality creates personal reality.
Exactly. How you think, how you act, how you feel, that is your personality. Change that combination, and your personal reality has to change accordingly.
Like the Monique story with the lottery win.
Yeah, presented not as random luck, but as her shifting her internal state, her personality, from one of lack to one of, like, feeling abundant and open before the win. That internal shift led to different actions, different awareness, aligning her with that unexpected outcome.
So generating those elevated emotions, gratitude, joy, love, awe, without needing an external reason, that's the fuel.
That's the fuel for creation, according to this work. Those feelings carry a higher energy, a different electromagnetic signature that interacts with the quantum field and draws new possibilities to you. Feeling it first is the key.
And this connects to finding your true self, not the self defined by the past or the body, but identifying with that inner consciousness, that potential.
Right. Making things like compassion or empowerment or love your new default habits, your new state of being.
Okay, so wrapping this deep dive up, the core message is pretty profound. The power to shape your reality truly lies within your internal world.
Yeah, your thoughts, your feelings, your fundamental state of being. Breaking the habit of being the old you takes conscious awareness, deliberately unlearning old patterns.
And actively conditioning your mind and body for a different future with a new personality, regardless of what's happening outside you right now.
It's very much an inside-out job.
Okay, so as we finish, let's take just a moment for a reflection, a little invitation for you, the listener.
Gently bring to mind, what's one familiar feeling or maybe a repetitive thought pattern that tends to show up automatically during your day? Could be worry, irritation, maybe just a subtle sense of lack.
Just notice it. No need to fight it or fix it. Just acknowledge its presence.
Now, just for a moment, can you intentionally call up a different feeling? Perhaps gratitude for something simple, or sense of peace, or maybe just openness. Try to feel it in your body right now, just for its own sake, independent of any external reason.
What does that feel like? What possibility does shifting your internal state, even for a moment, open up?
It's a powerful thought to leave with. The idea that your destiny isn't fixed by the outside world alone. It's a co-creation. And by consciously choosing your inner state, you really do have the power to, as the source suggests, tug on the fabric of reality and participate in creating your life.